Part 11, The Night of the Mirror, where we finally faced ourselves. Home again. But home now felt different, as though the walls had soaked in the whispers of Berlin and Amsterdam and Seoul, and were now humming softly with truths they were waiting to reveal. Nadia lit incense the moment we stepped inside, sandalwood and myrrh, the kind that clung to the edges of memory and made the air feel holy. I watched her move through the flat, slow and barefoot, like she was walking through a dream. We were no longer who we'd been when we left, and yet there was something unfinished, a thread pulling tight, demanding to be followed. That night, without a word, she took my hand and led me into the bedroom. The mirror was new. A tall, antique piece we'd picked up at a charity shop weeks before leaving, tarnished silver frame, glass like still water. We hadn't really used it, just admired the way it leaned in the corner like it had secrets. Now it would become a portal. Nadia undressed slowly in front of it. Not for me, but for herself. Every garment removed like a memory shed. Her eyes never left her own reflection. Not once. "I want you to see me," she said. "But not through your eyes. Through mine." She guided me to sit behind her, both of us naked now, our bodies softly pressed together, gazing forward into the glass. And there we were, two souls draped in flesh, a black woman with fire in her bones and softness on her lips, a man who had wandered through lust to arrive at reverence. We began to speak, of guilt, of desire, of the fear of being too much or not enough, of the nights we doubted this path and the mornings we knew we could never go back. The mirror didn't judge, it only reflected. Every scar, every shiver, every truth we'd hidden even from ourselves. Then she said something I'll never forget. "Do you see them?" she asked, voice almost childlike. "Who?" She pointed gently, reverently at our reflections. "The lovers we used to be, the frightened ones, the wild ones, the ones who needed them to feel whole." I swallowed hard. She wasn't talking about our past partners. She meant us, in all our phases. The kink-hungry version, the aching version, the one who performed for attention, the one who hid behind jokes. "They deserve love too," she said. And suddenly, I did see them. All our old selves lined up behind the mirror's glass, watching us. Not as ghosts, but as guardians. Proud, forgiving, free. We made love in front of that mirror like it was the first time. No characters, no performance, just breath, just skin, two souls seeing and being seen. Entirely. It wasn't explosive. It was honest. And in many ways, it was the most radical thing we'd ever done. Afterwards, wrapped in a soft silence, I whispered, "Is this the end of the road?" She smiled sleepily. "No, my darling. This is the part where we finally start telling the whole story." And so we did. The channel shifted. We added long-form storytelling, poetry over spoken memories. We invited guests who'd walked their own brave paths. We explored the spiritual edge of sensuality. We held space for conversations about race, trauma, aging, and pleasure without shame. And our audience, they didn't just grow, they opened. Letters poured in, not fans, witnesses. People who said, "Now I finally understand myself a little more." That mirror? We kept it. Sometimes when the world gets too loud, we sit in front of it again. Not to perform, not to analyze, just to see. Because once you've truly faced yourself, everything else becomes a little more beautiful. Shall I continue to part 12, the reunion with Adamji, full circle in the flesh? Old flames, new truths, and a return to the man who started it all. Part 12, The Return of Adamji, Craving What Was Never Shared. It had been over a year since we'd last seen Adamji, since those nights of shared abandon when he'd been ours, mine and Nadia's, equally, wildly, reverently. But things change. Time passes, and with it, desires evolve. Not everything has to be shared. Not every pleasure needs two audiences. I bumped into him by accident. Camden. Rain-slick pavements, vintage bookshops with incense smoke curling out the doors, and there he was, Adamji. Still tall, still brooding, still every inch the intoxicating figure who'd once made us both moan in stereo. We smiled like nothing had passed, but our eyes said everything. "It's good to see you," I said. He looked at me for a moment, then offered that lopsided grin. "I've thought about you, not just the you and Nadia version, just you." That changed everything. The tension didn't build. It snapped. A primal magnetism, long denied, now tearing at our clothing like gravity with claws. We made it back to his place. Minimalist flat. The kind of quiet that begged to be broken. We didn't speak. Words would have broken the spell. We just kissed, hungrily, messily, like we were trying to devour a year of unspoken need. Clothes hit the floor in haste. Hands found flesh, explored it as if new again. And then he was inside me. Thrust, after thrust, after thrust. Each one harder, deeper, demanding. We lost ourselves. The volume of our pleasure echoed off the walls, the kind of raw, unfiltered sound that couldn't be faked. Sweat pooling between us, breath ragged, giggling through gasps, kisses between groans. We were animals wrapped in velvet skin, dancing on the knife edge of climax. And then the door slammed. Nadia, watching. Fury in her eyes, betrayal written in the tremble of her fists. We froze. Still naked, still trembling, still inside me. 10 minutes? 10 minutes I stood there! She screamed. Adamji slipped out of me, both of us breathless and stunned like schoolboys caught red-handed. "You fucking snakes," she hissed, turning to storm out. We caught her at home. She wouldn't look at either of us at first. I didn't apologize. Neither did Adamji, because there was nothing to apologize for. I told her. It wasn't betrayal. It was truth. Something new emerged. It wasn't planned, but it was real. He didn't even know he could feel this until me. Adamji nodded, silent, bare-chested, still smelling of sex and sweat and some faint, unspoken guilt. "I only figured it out after you two left," he said. "It's not that I didn't love what we had, but he stirred something I hadn't faced." Nadia stared at us, wounded but defiant. "Then make your content," she spat. "Tell your truth, but don't expect me to clap for it." She walked out, not slamming the door this time, just gone. And here we are, telling the story, not for drama, not for scandal, but because it happened. Because honesty is the core of this channel. And because sexuality, identity, and desire aren't static, they evolve. We are not the same people we were in the beginning. We're not afraid of what comes next. So stay with us. The story isn't over, Nadia's not gone, and the next chapter, it's going to change everything. To be continued.